going? Okay. Have you ever flipped through a manga and wondered how they draw the characters and panels and get that fancy dialogue in there? Well, I have been drawing manga since I was 13 years old, and I have done several trial and error pages. So today we're going to talk about how to draw manga. I'm going to explain how to write, draw, ink, tone, and add digital text so you too can create beautiful manga. The first thing you will have to do when you start a manga is to have an idea. Once you have an idea that you really like, you will need to format it into a story. The Pen and Pad article said that you could write it as a script. And then the Japanese manga tutorial article said that you could do a script or do a storyboard. Sorry. Do a storyboard. A storyboard will prepare you for how you want it to look, and if you don't like it, you can make note of it in the storyboard, so when you draw your panel out and your whole page, you'll know to fix it. This panel seemed kind of skinny, so by the time I drew it out, this panel was thicker. After you are satisfied with your script, story, or storyboard, you will then draw it out onto a page like the manga. That will be your manga page. You will need to draw the characters and the word bubbles and the background. You'll have to remember to add in the little side effects, the little details. And then you'll need to check it over and make sure that's how you want it to look. And when you're done doing that, you will then ink it. Inking always seemed to be just tracing to me, but as I went on and kept creating manga pages, I realized there was a lot more to inking than I knew. Certain things need to be thick and certain things need to be thin, like the panels and the dialogue or word bubbles need to be somewhat thick. They don't need to be the thickest thing on your page, but they have to be at least medium thick. And then the characters' hair and eyelashes and lines in their clothing need to be pretty thin. And the cat whiskers in this panel is one of the extremely thin lines, but then its eyes are kind of thick. And then the girl's blush is very thin, and lines in her hair is very thin, but then her shoulders and her head line is very thick. The varying of thickness keeps the illustration looking very interesting and easy for the eyes. It's not bland. Once you are done inking, you will then go on to shading and screen toning. Shading and screen toning is another very important process, and it took me a lot of trial and error to do this correctly. First off, there's actual traditional screen tones for manga. Now, a screen tone isn't just ink or anything like that. It's actually a very fancy sticker. Now, in this day and age, there's a lot of manga artists that do it digitally, but several traditional manga artists still stick to the original screen tone. Now, screen tone is a very thin, almost like a giant sticker, adhesive. And you cut the section out that you want for your character or whatever you're shading, and you will cut it out around the character. When I first got screen tones, I traced it exactly down to the line and would apply it to the character or panel, and I would always make errors, and there would be parts of it that wouldn't have the screen tone on it. And as the Japan manga tutorial article said, it's not a good idea to do that. What you want to do is loosely go around it, put it onto your page, and then with an X-Acto knife, cut it out exactly while it's on the page itself. Because then you won't make nearly as many errors, if any, if you do it correctly. That was very hard for me to learn. Once you do those types of shading, you can also tone with simple black ink or with a very thick ink pen, and you can tone in things extremely dark. You can also do homemade screen tones, since these are very pricey, and you can get masking tape and put masking tape over the thing you want to screen tone and cut out the masking tape, and then use the makeup sponge and an ink pad and apply it, and there you have your own original screen tone. And another thing that manga artists use is white deleter ink. This is for when they're making the panels. Over here they could make a line too long. They can cover it up with this white ink. And they can also use it for special effects. If they want something to look brighter, or shimmery, or sparkly, they could add a few dots of this, and it will instantly make it fancier. But be careful not to use too much or it will become a globby mess. Now once you have done the screen toning and you are satisfied with it, you will then need to take your page and put it into a printer and scan it. And then once you scan it, you have to put it on your computer. And the program I use is Microsoft Publisher. And I will add the dialogue in digitally, which the Japan Manga tutorial article also states you can do. They use a different software program, but I use Microsoft Publisher. And then you can also add some more screen tones, like digital screen tones and such, and you can type in your sound effects. And any mistake that you hadn't seen that is on there, you can look over and fix digitally. So then after that, all you have to do is print it out and you can read it for fun. Or you could actually submit it and have it judged by a publisher to get advice on how to make your manga better, how to make it more to be publishable, or you could possibly get your manga published, which would be pretty cool. Now you have all the necessary information to start making your very own manga. Remember, what you do is you write your story, draw the manga, ink the manga very carefully, tone it and screen tone it, and then last but not least, add the digital text and print it out. Thank you for your time and your attention.